Hello, welcome to our next lab. Today we are going to be talking about the VMware Workstation Pro environment and how to create multiple virtual machines, do some cloning, and just get this lab set up so that we can actually perform some of the tasks that we want to perform throughout the course. So to get started, before we get started, of course, you want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button and like the video. But also, you're going to need to go and download your files from the website if you haven't already done that. Just to give you guys an idea of where to go for those files, each and every single one of the modules in the class has that download course files from here link under the overview. Just click on that link and download those files. If you haven't downloaded those files yet, it does take quite a while. So if you're just starting the lab, maybe download those files, walk away, and when the files have downloaded, come back to it. If you don't want to spend the enormous amount of time it's going to take to download the files, then just come into class and get with your instructor and download the files there. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and get started on what we're going to do in this lab. First and foremost, we've already got our Windows 10 Pro computer here that we created in our last lab. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a clone of this. Now, the reason that we're going to make a clone of this virtual machine is because we want to have a fresh copy of the Windows operating system that we haven't touched to make sure that this version is a quality, untainted version of the operating system. So if something happens in our labs later on where we get a corrupted OS or a virtual machine goes bad, we can just make a new clone and start over. You can do this process later on at the end of each lab so that you have iterations of each virtual machine. So lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, so on and so forth. In case you do have something that happens in, say, week 7 or week 8 that damages your virtual machine, you can just go back to week 6 or week 7 and have a functioning virtual machine. You don't have to lose out on all the things that you've done up until that point. So in order for us to create this clone, all we have to do is right-click on our current virtual machine that we have, and we come down here to Manage, and we're just going to click on Clone. It's really kind of that simple. Then we go through the process of cloning the virtual machine. We click Next. We do want the current state, so we click Next. We don't want a linked clone. We want a full clone. Full clone will give us a full operating system, not something that's going to be reliant on the original. Click Next there. And we want to make a name for this virtual machine. So because of what we're doing with the rest of the labs, we're going to go ahead and we're going to name this WIN10-01. So Win10-01. And then we want to change the location of where we're going to save this virtual machine. Again, make sure you're always saving your virtual machines on the external drive. We're going to save these in the virtual machines folder. And then inside that folder, we're going to make a new folder, and we're going to name this the virtual machine that we are creating. So Win10-01. Once we've done that, we go ahead and hit OK. And you can see that our path is correct. CNT201, virtual machines, Win10-01. Go ahead and click Finish. And then that's pretty much it. This process is going to take a little while because it's copying all those files. And when it's done, we'll continue on, hit close, and then we can open up the virtual machine and make sure that it's running properly. So as always, when we have this long period of time here, I'm going to go ahead and skip forward to the next step so that we don't have to sit here in silence and make things all weird. But keep in mind that while you're doing these labs, even though lab 3 is relatively going to be short because of what we're doing, make sure that you are taking notes of everything that you're doing in the lab because you are going to be filling out the work order form. And the work order form is for you to discuss how you felt the lab went, what you learned in the lab, what you felt went wrong, or where you maybe got stuck, so that we can make the lab a little bit better in the future, but also so that I know that you are fully understanding what it is that you're doing in these labs. So like I said, this is going to take a little while, hopefully not too long, and we'll just skip forward to the next spot. Okay, and now that the virtual machine is done being created, we can click close. And as soon as we click close, you'll see that you actually do have the Win10.01 pop up. Now we can click on this Win10.01, and you can see that the memory is 2 gigs, just like the memory in the Windows 10 Pro. The processors are 2, the hard drive is 100 gig. Everything is the same as the previous install. We do actually want to change a little bit on this because we don't want to use this file anymore. So we're going to click on this CD-ROM, and we're just going to use the physical disk as opposed to the ISO file, because we're not actually installing the operating system. It's already installed. So now everything's all set. We can go ahead and power on this virtual machine. We can hit OK on that. It's asking if we want to connect to SATA 01. It says there's no corresponding drive. We're just going to go ahead and click yes. Let it try and connect. Hopefully next time we reboot, that won't be there anymore because that drive will have been created. And now the Windows 10 operating system is booting up. Okay, now that we have our login, we can go ahead and type in our password, CNT password. Oops. And we can hit enter, and that will bring us into our Windows environment. So you can see that this operating system is working just like our Windows 10 did. We just created a new version of it. Now we're going to go ahead and do this one more time. And we can do it while this Windows 10.01 is still running, because we're going to use our default Windows 10 Pro as our clone again. So we're going to come back here to manage, and we're going to click on clone, and we'll hit next and next. And we're again create a full clone, click next. This time we're going to call it Win10-02. And again, we'll change the location here back to our external drive, CNT201, virtual machines. And again, we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to name this one Win10-02. Click OK. Make sure that our path is correct, and click Finish. And again, it's going to continue to clone on this virtual machine, even though our Win10.01 is still running. Notice that I can't click on the Win10.01 because it is creating a virtual machine. However, even though the Win10.01 is running, it's still giving us the ability to create the virtual machine. So again, we'll wait a little while for this. As soon as this is done, we'll hit close, and we can go ahead and power on the Windows 10.02 computer. Okay, now that we have our second Windows operating system up, we can go ahead and log into that. And now you can see that we actually have the 2 different operating systems running. Now at this point, we want to make sure that we do customize these a little bit as far as from a computer's standpoint, not from a visualization standpoint, because we don't have these activated, but we do want to change some things on them. For instance, we're going to come here and we're going to right click on our start menu, and we're going to click on System. And we are just going to scroll down here to where it says rename this PC advanced. We're going to click on this. And it's going to pop up our computer's information. We're going to click on change, and we're going to change the computer name on this one. We want this one to be named Win10-01. And we can keep it in the TI-138 workgroup. Click OK, and it will tell us that we need to reboot our computer, which we're fine with. Go ahead and hit OK. Hit close, and we can go ahead and restart this one. While that one's restarting, we can come over to this one, and we can rename this one as well, right-clicking on our Start menu. Clicking on System. Scrolling down to rename this PC Advanced. And this doesn't matter so much right now because they are independent clients. But when we start working in the workgroup aspect and working with these inside of a networked environment, it will definitely matter. So we want to make sure that we change these now so that we don't have to worry about it. And again, we want to change this one to Win10-02. Again, we can keep it in the TI-138 platform or workgroup, sorry. Hit OK. And we can hit OK to restart. And close, and we can restart this one. And hopefully this one has, well, it's still getting ready. And that's all that we're going to do for this lab. Pretty simple. I know that it doesn't seem like we did a whole lot, but because of how much time it takes to get these up and running and get them functional, you know, it just breaks down to what we're able to do in the time that we have allotted. So go ahead and make sure that you do watch the video on customization. Because these computers aren't activated, we don't have a product key on them, we can't actually customize these computers. So watch the video on customization. And if you want to customize your own personal PC with some of those customization ideas, feel free to. Just make sure that you are cautious in what you're customizing and that you know what you're doing when you're doing it. Simple things like changing your backdrop and stuff like that, it's not a big deal. But when you start messing with, you know, mouse speed and other aspects that are inside of the customization video, you may overtune and screw something up that you want to change later, and it's kind of difficult to change. So once these are done rebooting, we can log back in and shut them down. But that's it for this lab. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day.